Okay, let's do... We haven't seen Elliot Hulse in a while. He took a bit of a break. Let's take a look at, Yeah, let's take a look at Elliot Hulse. It's not gonna go good.
The cultural Marxists understand that in order to destroy the society, it's all about destroying the father, the primordial pattern of the culture. That means you make them atheists and sexual deviants. When you get God and the Father, when you destroy religion and sexuality, society's done. That civilization is done. It's only a matter of time. And people think sexual deviance is liberation, but it's nothing but domination. Look up.
For the record, when he says sexual deviance, he means like LGBT people existing. So that's great.
E. Michael Jones, libido dominandi. The best way, the way you start controlling the population is you make them sexual degenerates. They think they're free, but now they're slaves of their sexual desire.
Yo, Elliot.
How important is it to be married before having children? I have to go, but appreciate your insight. Man, I can give you my opinion, but I've got a lot of old school, traditional, tradcon ideas that I think are going to make a comeback in our degenerate world that's falling apart.
Every conservative throughout history, we're only days away from going back to that mythical period in time where everything was how I thought it should be. I don't know how to tell you this, Elliot. That mythical period of the 1950s or whenever you think the world was not degenerate would not have treated you very well, unfortunately. There's no such thing as a golden period in history where everything was great and fine. The past was shit. All we can do in the present is hope that it's less shit and continue to try and make things better.
Coming apart by the seams. And it's not expedient, but the world has completely accepted decadence, degeneracy, and diabolical disorientation as a normal way of being. So when I share my opinions, you got to understand that it might not even seem quote unquote practical, but I think that it is of your best interest. I think it's a very good idea to be married when you have children. I even think that the integrity that the child feels, I think there's an integrity that the child experiences, senses in its soul when the mother and father are bonded that way.
No, because kids don't come out of the womb knowing what marriage is. I understand the idea that if you have two parents, them having a strong bond and being like non-abusive and being like a wonderful couple and really caring about each other and them working together for the best of the child, of course that's wonderful. You want that in parents, of course. But the idea that the kid gives a shit if they have a legal contract together and had a ceremony, not really. The kid cares about the day-to-day. The kid cares about how they see their parents treat each other. They care about how the parents treat them. They don't care if they have a piece of paper somewhere that says we are financially and legally bound together. It's irrelevant.
Become one flesh. Prior to degeneracy becoming normal, prior to everybody having fuck buddies and baby daddies and abortions.
I don't know how to break it to this guy, but people have been fucking since the beginning of time. Since human beings became Homo sapiens, and I'm sure before that, I'm sure Homo habilis got it on all the time. It's probably why we're here. My point is, there's never been a point in human history where human beings have not been engaged in sexual activity with each other. People sleep together all the time. Abortions have been a thing, like as long as humans have been a thing and we understood that pregnancy was a thing that existed. This is not new. People just didn't talk about it back in like the 50s and stuff because it was considered taboo to talk about. They didn't come into existence in the 1970s.
There was shame associated with having a baby out of wedlock. I think one of the things that we need to bring back is shame. And they used to call babies that were born out of wedlock bastards.
Okay, so what you're saying is they've always existed? Great.
Ain't real nice, right? Because how many of you guys? I'm not calling you bastards. I'm just showing you the way things have changed. But how many of you guys,
Okay, so you're illustrating that people used to be shamed due to the circumstances of their birth that were entirely out of their control, and you would like to return to that period? Great.
your parents had you're born out of wedlock. Most of my friends, they're just together. They're just together. They live together. They have babies.
Okay, so you must think they're decent enough people because they're your friends. If you thought they were degenerate pieces of shit, why would they be your friends?
I don't think it's right. Not only do I not think it's right, but science has shown, evident statistics have shown that children that are born to parents that are out of wedlock don't thrive as well in society. They don't do as well. They have more problems.
Source? Can I get a source on that?
And I don't think it's just good enough that the mom and dad are together. I think that there's a soul tie. There's a spiritual covenant. There is a lifelong agreement, a solid ground to stand on for the family.
It's a piece of paper. People can get divorced. You being married doesn't mean you're in a more committed relationship than someone who also intends to be intends to stay together forever but just doesn't have a legal agreement to do so. You don't need a piece of paper to make your relationship count. It's fine.
When the parents are married before they have the children. But then again, 70% divorce, 90% are initiated by women.
Okay, divorce is good. If people got married and they're unhappy now, they should be able to leave that relationship. That's a good thing. In the past, there were just as many women who didn't want to be in the relationships that they were in, but they were either coerced through the fact that they couldn't sustain themselves outside of a marriage because they weren't allowed to have jobs for a long period of time in American society, or outright threats of, like, violence, or it was illegal to get divorced for a long period of time. None of those things are good. They're just being forced into staying in an awful, potentially abusive relationship. That's bad.
Our whole world is crumbling and it's imploding because the family has been attacked.
How has the family been attacked? Allowing different groups of people arranged in different ways than, like, nuclear straight married family to be considered families isn't the crumbling of the family unit. It's the expansion of what we understand to be the family unit. You don't have to be a straight guy, a straight cis guy, and a straight cis woman with 2.5 kids in order to be, a family. You can be 2 men, 2 women, trans, cis, any mix of those things. You could have kids, you could not have kids, you could be married, you could not be married, you could adopt kids, you could do surrogacy. These are all families, and they're all valid. There's nothing wrong with that.
The last battle will be for the family. So, as a Catholic, I like to read and learn about these apparitions. I don't know exactly what the word apparition means. I should look it up. But they're basically events where people will encounter Jesus or Mary in their lives. There are these Marian apparitions where Mary, the mother of Jesus, comes to certain people throughout history, and they've been approved by the church. Make it of what you want.
Okay, I don't like to comment on religion a ton on this channel because it's just not what it's about. And even though on, like, the Hannah and Jake channel, we deal with religion stuff because that's the nature of how we started the channel, I'm just not as interested in it these days, right? I think I've said about all I can possibly say about religion at this point. If you are Catholic and you believe these things, whatever, but you should not be making policy decisions or decisions on how society should function based upon claims by the church or individuals in that church that they have had divine intervention by supernatural events happening. You can personally believe in these things, but you should not use these unfalsifiable, unprovable claims to inform how you think society should function, because that's ridiculous. You would never allow that from anyone else. If someone who was like Muslim came to you and said, oh, the Prophet Muhammad came to me and said such and such thing is how society should function, you would probably never take that at their word. You would say that they were mistaken or something along those lines, and you would probably be right. But you need to apply that consistently to everyone. We need evidence-based policy making. You cannot just say, well, I had this supernatural experience and I'm going to use this personal supernatural experience to inform my political views. That's backwards. You cannot do that.
Just listen to what I have to say. There's one that was called The Lady of Good Success, where Mary came to this nun in Portugal, I think, or somewhere in South America in like the 1500s. And she explained to this nun what was going to happen over the course of the next, like, she didn't give her the time frame, but she said that there are various things that are going to happen as the world is starting to come to an end and starting to unravel at the seams. And all of them, I mean, this is an apparition for a couple hundred years ago. I don't know if it was a 1500 or 1600. Anyway, it's a couple hundred years ago. Look it up, The Lady of Good Success.
Let's take a look. Oh, it's like a prayer. Hold on, do we have a better one? The following is the main context of our following... Oh, that's a newsletter. They just have a... Come on. Oh, this is a terribly designed web page. Okay. The first apparition of Our Lady of Good Success occurred on February 2nd, 1589. This occurred several months after Mariana received the stigmata from our Lord, which was invisible except when she first received them. Trust me, guys, I have stigmata. They're invisible, but they're there. How easy was it to trick people back in the day? Guys, I miraculously had stigmata. Oh, can I see them? No, they're invisible. She suffered the dark night of the soul with physical, mental, and spiritual anguishes during this time. Our Lady appeared to her to finally relieve her of mental and spiritual afflictions and said, why do you fear, my daughter? Do you not know that I am with you in your tribulation? I am Mother of Heaven, whom you invoked. I have come to dissipate the darkness of the night of your soul. In September 1589, after suffering hell and the purgatory for a whole year and dying once again, she returned to health to continue to fulfill her sacrificial mission for us. The second apparition of Our Lady of Good Success happened on February 2nd, 1594, when Mother Mariana was imploring heaven for the good of her convent and for the end of the many sins being committed in the world. When she was finished, she rose and found a most beautiful lady who carried the child Jesus in her left arm. She addressed her, I am Mary of Good Success, the Queen of Heaven and Earth. I have come from the heaven to console your afflicted... Okay, where's the... Oh no! Okay, here's the prophecy. Ugh. I hate prophecies. She told Mother Mariana, these years during which the accursed sect of Masonry will take control of civil government will see a cruel persecution of all religious communities, and will also strike out violently this one of mine. These unfortunate men will think the covenant destroyed, but God lives, and I live. So they think that Freemasons are going to control the government. Fourth apparition. There will be a total corruption of customs, for Satan will reign almost completely by means of Masonic sects. Again, they think Freemasons are going to control the world? The devil will try to persecute the ministers of the Lord in every way possible. He will labor with cruel and subtle astuteness to deviate them from their spirit of their vocation, and will corrupt many of them. These depraved priests, who will scandalize the Christian people, will make the hatred of bad Catholics and the enemies of Roman Catholics and apostolic church fall upon all priests. This apparent triumph of Satan will bring enormous suffering to the good pastors in the church. In this supreme moment of need of the church, the one who should speak will fall silent. Let's see. The church will find herself attacked by terrible hordes of the Masons. A lot of this is about Freemasonry. This is mostly about Freemasonry. The faithful souls will suffer continuous and slow martyrdom. Again, Masonic. It's all about Masonry. Does Elliot Hulse think Freemasons control the world? Or what? God, I gotta get a front light. My lighting is so bad.
Our Lady of Good Success. And she describes how at the very last stance, when Satan has basically put the knife in and is twisting it for the death of humanity, she says the last battle will be for the family. When you see the family under attack, that's when the world is, you're basically there.
Most of it appeared to be about Freemasonry, but okay.
Look at the greatest attacks that have happened that has destroyed our culture. It has been removing the fathers from the home. It has been abortion. It has been contraception. I didn't
Condoms!
really believe it
Goddamn Nouvering. I knew you were the work of Satan.
until I started looking at it, but how contraception destroys sexuality and families. I could go into it.
I don't know about you guys, but contraception is great. And I would definitely in my life have had a lot less sex if I was constantly worried about pregnancy.
Right now, but I won't, because there are a bunch of other things. Abortion is rampant. Look at the LGBTQ confusion.
It's not confusion, Elliot, just because you don't understand it.
That they're pouring into our children's brains. You know what that's about? It's about destroying the family by destroying sexuality so that children don't make babies anymore. When a boy cuts
Children shouldn't make babies. They're children. What?
his penis off and starts taking hormones or vice versa, they're sterile.
Elliot, they don't typically do that to children. Usually they put them on puberty blockers, which is great until they can make the decision when they're 16 or 18.
What do you think these vaccinations and Bill Gates talking about controlling population through them is about?
Has Elliot Hulse gone down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole?
Sterilization. What do you think plummeting testosterone levels and pesticides and birth control pills in our piss is all about? Sterilization. What do you think this whole quote unquote green movement, sustainable bullshit is about?
About trying to sustain the environment that we live in so we don't all die? Yeah, this is accidentally Tinfoil Tuesday. I didn't think he was gonna do this.
It's about depopulation.
We're not really doing bingo, for the record. I'm just joking, but...
How do you depopulate the planet? Destroy the family. And how you destroy the family? Destroy sexuality. Feminism, radical feminism, divorce rate.
He's just listing off buzzwords that right-wingers don't like.
Destroy marriage. Nobody's getting married anymore, and I don't blame.
No, I mean, marriage rights might be down, but that's fine. More people can get married than ever because of Obergefell v. Hodges, so what's your problem?
Nobody's getting married anymore because it's been destroyed by the courts.
Oh no, is he gonna say that because gay marriage is legal, marriage has been destroyed, even though all it does is make it so more people can get married?
So I know you're asking me, whether you should get married, you should get married or not. Uh, I do. I do. I believe it's better for the family, for their children, when a mother and a father have a agreement, have a lifelong commitment to one another. Lifelong. Forever. I know in our YOLO world, we can't handle the idea. We think that there's something, they think that there's something oppressive.
YOLO world? Is it 2014 already?
Not only women, the feminism got to where it was by saying that women are oppressed by marriage, but even men, we're so effeminate now that we're like, marriage is oppressive to us because, but what about all the other pussy I want to go get?
Fellas, is it gay to want to sleep with women?
What about all the other girls? So I'm oppressed by my marriage. Real effeminate, real weak. We've been destroyed. We've been destroyed. And there's only going to be a remnant left. Hopefully, you and your wife and your family and the men that are in this program, you can make it work. And you'll be a part of that remnant. Because the world cannot repopulate itself after the devastation that we're going to experience in the next 10 years if there aren't good, healthy, wholesome families. We need families, man. So that's my ideas on that, man. Don't let the lords of this world confuse you, lie to you, destroy you, turn you away from what's right and what's good, infiltrate the home, confuse your children, destroy your physiology, lie to you about overpopulation, lie to your women about oppression and how it is better to be a career woman than to be a mother.
I think typically the cultural narrative is if you want to have a career and you're a woman, that's great and you should pursue that. And if you don't have to. That's the point, is that people have the freedom to decide what they want to do with their lives and not impose some sort of cultural norm onto them in regard to that. That's the whole point.
There's nothing better than being a mother. Nothing a woman could do better than being a great mother.
Yikes. Look, being a parent's great, and if that's something that you do, that's wonderful. But, there are tons of things you can do in your life. For one person, being a parent can be, the best thing they can do if that's what makes them happy, and that's what fulfills them. But there are plenty of other people who don't want that, and they can be fulfilled and reach, self-actualization through other means. Careers, businesses, hobbies, art, whatever it happens to be. It's all fine. There isn't a one-size-fit-all destiny for everyone. We're all individuals. It's good for people to be able to go out and find what fulfills them and makes them happy. Stop trying to put people in these little boxes. It makes everyone miserable.
But I'm a misogynist for saying that.
Yeah. Yep. Unironically. Yes.
Right? Ideological subversion, soft totalitarianism. We're there.
People telling me I'm wrong is soft totalitarianism.
Totally brainwashed. Sick, sad, degenerate population. But I acknowledge you, my man, and I hope things work out. I pray that things work out for you guys. You know what? If it's going to work, things are going to work out with marriage, and things are going to work out with family, and things are going to work out in a society. We have to return to the father. They knew, the cultural Marxists understand that in order
By the way, cultural Marxism is literally an ideological rip, and I'm not trying to Godwin's law here. It's just legitimately an interesting thing. Cultural Marxism is literally something the Nazis made up. They called it cultural Bolshevism. Same thing. It's just a way of trying to cast progressives as communist degenerates. The Nazis literally did this shit, and yes, they used it as a code word for Jewish people. So, if you find yourself repeating rhetoric the Nazis had, maybe get new rhetoric?
To destroy the society, it's all about destroying the father, the primordial pattern of the culture.
Sorry, yeah, they also called it Judeo-Bolshevism. My bad.
That means you make them atheists and sexual deviants.
It's fine if people want to be religious, but it's also great if people want to be non-religious. If people want to be LGBT, because that's what they are, it's not something you choose to be, it's something that you are, and if you want to be open about that, that's fantastic. Elliot, you're a straight cis man, and that's wonderful, and I'm happy for you, but trying to push that onto other people if that doesn't make them comfortable isn't okay. If people are trans or gay or lesbian or pan or bi or whatever, that's their business. It's fine. Elliot, have you ever met a femboy? Maybe go meet a femboy. I don't know.
When you get God and the Father, when you destroy religion and sexuality, society's done. That civilization is done. It's only a matter of time. And people think sexual deviance is liberation, but it's nothing but domination. Look up E. Michael Jones, libido dominandi. The way you start controlling the population is you make them sexual degenerates. They think they're free, but now they're slaves of their sexual desire. And that's where we are. We're a bunch of atheist sexual degenerates in a declining society. Done.
Yo, it's your bro Elliot Hulse here, and I hope.
Good Lord, Elliot. Good effing Lord. Well,
There's nothing funny about
I'm
the tools
weirdly
of
glad
capitalism.
Elliot's back, so yeah. We'll be seeing more of him. He's falling down a conspiracy theory rabbit hole, it seems, which is interesting. I didn't expect that, but I guess we'll see where he goes from here moving forward. Anyway.